Welcome to the Tea with No Filter podcast. It's your girl Liz, Elizabeth, and Quinn, where we give you all the tea and no filter. Let's get into it. All right, check this, right? This is a scenario. You've been dating somebody for a couple of months. You know, everything going slowly. You getting to know each other a little bit. Things start slowly to get the holidays, and they start to come around, and you realize you really spend a lot of time with this person. But this person is spending a lot of time with their ex, making calendar and planning holidays, even going on family trips. So be honest. Are you cool with this? Is this a situation where they're still together? My question to y'all now is this a case of healthy co-parenting, or is he still emotionally attached to his ex?
He's emotionally attached at a certain point, but it depends on how long they've been broken up. So let's say if it's less than a year, it's too fresh. A year and a half to 2 years, I think it's like, okay, now you need to find a middle ground, especially if somebody else is dating.
Okay, so a couple more details. They have been broken up, let's say a year and a half. They have come to the decision that their child, which is two, he shouldn't experience any of the effects of them being broken up. So they do everything pretty much the same. They take their kid to school, he puts his kids to bed, he bathes his child a couple of times a week. He has a child on the weekend, 3, 4 times a week. And he picks her up and drops her to work, picks her up, do whatever it needs to be. So they're pretty much spending a whole lot of time.
They could just stay together.
Like at this point,
Because if you want to still be doing everything, if you want to say, oh, we're doing it for the child, then work it out for the child.
yeah.
But if you're going to have other partners, your own relationship, then you have to make adjustments.
What would healthy co-parenting look like, and where should the boundaries lie? That's the question I would ask myself in that position.
But I think where it's healthy, of course, everybody's supposed to see their child because
Mhm.
you don't want to deal with somebody who's not involved with their child because that speaks about also their character. Of course, I feel like you can have a schedule, like you said. They can pick up a child now. Okay, you can tell your child, like, okay, mommy and daddy. Eventually, your child is going to notice because first of all, that's just living a lie. Because
Exactly.
the child
Facts.
is seeing daddy don't not sleeping there.
But maybe he does sleep in
Oh,
there too. We don't
maybe
know.
we don't know.
Maybe he
But
be like,
let's
hold on, we need to put him to bed together.
Exactly.
but let's just say, I don't know. But that's just living a life because what values are you teaching that future child? So I just feel healthy co-parenting is like, okay, we haven't worked out, so this is what we're gonna do. I will have my child on the weekend. So from Fridays, like Friday afternoon or whatever, I'm
Yeah.
gonna pick up my child. Child is gonna stay with me, and then Monday morning, I drop the child to school. You pick it up here on. I feel like when you start to have a partner, there's now an expectation for you to also be honest and open about your situation. Because truth be told, if the situation was flipped, where the man was dealing with a girl doing that with another guy, they wouldn't be happy. He wouldn't be happy
I
about
think if
it.
the girl was
Mhm.
dating, I don't think another man would allow a man to come into your house several times a week
Yeah.
and have that type of
Exactly.
relationship. And that's not that you don't want that child to have a father in their life, or that you don't want the like Elizabeth said. I agree to the extent where you should see a child. If I'm dating a man with a child, you need to spend time with your child. Because if you're not
Mhm.
spending time with your child, now I'm questioning what type of father you are. And
Mhm.
therefore, if I was to fall pregnant, where are we gonna stand? Because
Yeah.
I'm very much in the thought process that anything a man does to another woman, he will do to you
Yep.
Mhm.
later down the line. So I do agree with that. However, I do think when you break up, things do change. The dynamic does change. So
Yeah.
piggybacking off of what Quinn said earlier, I agree. If things are so good and all, you could sync up calendars so easily and you could plan family vacations and it's like no discussion into that, then you should just be together. Why break up?
Exactly.
Exactly.
Why break up? And I feel like if you want to take family, why you taking communication with your partner? Let her be there. Hello,
Oh no.
family. Like
I don't know if I would do that though.
no, I'm just saying because that means you hiding something because you want to your current partner you letting them stay out of the loop. I'm not saying you have to do it,
But
but I'm
because this
just
relationship is really fresh, I just feel like maybe that's not appropriate. I don't know if I'm in a fresh relationship, I would want to go on a family trip with your 2 year old, your
well
girlfriend,
not
half friends, and their
excluding the
kids.
freshness. Excluding the freshness. I mean future wise. I mean if you and the person end up together for 1 year and they're still doing this, like I mean come on, do better. Like I don't know. If you're so good, go back being a
But the
family
thing
at
is
this
too, I
point.
feel like they still want that child to have the family experience without actually having the
The
family.
family.
So it's like you
I think
either
when
have
young people
to
go into having kids and you don't have a clear picture of what your family wants to look like,
yeah, but just you have to know what you're getting into when you break
because
up.
I feel
Yeah.
like people want to make it seem, and I think I don't want to say it's a baby mama, baby daddy type of relationship, but I feel like those relationships are very much very easy. I don't always say old flames catch quick.
Mm-hmm.
So if you have
Mm-hmm.
slept with somebody, you can't tell me when that man watching his child, he there in the living room, they bathe the child, they taking picture. Oh, he watching, he opening his gift, so cute. And then you don't feel like your heart inside feel a little warm, be like, damn, like, like this is what
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
we left
Mm-hmm.
behind,
I would
And
have.
maybe sometimes it might be a little kiss, and maybe sometimes they might be rocking in
A
the
hug.
sheets. And
This.
it's like, where do you draw the boundaries?
Mm-hmm.
And if I'm with someone and they haven't made a clear boundary and a clear decision of what kind of co-parenting relationship they have with a thing, I, my personal self, wouldn't get
Yeah.
intertwined into that very
Exactly.
unclear
Yeah,
situation.
yeah. I
Yeah.
wouldn't
And
get
I
into
feel
it.
that's the first thing you should probably, if you ask, you deal with somebody, you're like, what is your co-parent situation
I feel like
going
people
on
lie
with
a
you?
lot. I
Yeah.
That's
feel like
true.
Yeah.
in the
Mm-hmm.
beginning, people don't really want to say. I think it's a very much a thing of observation. What is a man willing to share or a woman willing to share with you? Because I feel like
Mm-hmm.
they always want to make it be like, yeah, my baby, I'm crazy. No woman is going to feel a certain way if you're not leading her on to a certain extent. That's my
Mm-hmm.
personal opinion.
Yeah.
I
Mm-hmm.
cannot get signs from someone. I don't have a kid, but if I was to have a kid and my baby daddy coming over every weekend, as a woman, right now I don't have kids, but I have a
Mm-hmm.
clear picture of the
Mm-hmm.
type of relationship and how I want my kids to grow up. I want my kids to grow up in a two-parent home. I
Mm-hmm.
want them to experience loving parents that they
Mm-hmm.
can see like, hey, what love look like. Daddy respects mommy, mommy respects
Mm-hmm.
daddy, because that's very important in my child's upbringing.
Mm-hmm.
And it would be very heartbreaking to me if I have a child with someone and we end up breaking up for whatever differences. Even if you say you're gonna be cool or something, this still, especially if you're bringing other people into your relationship. I think if there's no one else from the outside that y'all are bringing in on both sides into the relationship,
Mm-hmm.
there's no problem with that. However, I do feel like once you start including other people emotions into y'all's very complicated situation,
Yeah.
that is where it becomes a
Yeah.
problem. Because
Mm-hmm.
I particularly don't have no kids and I don't want to enter your drama.
What if you with somebody and he says, yeah, but she's the mother of my child, so she comes first.
No, your child comes
No, your
first. You
child come
come first,
first. If
not the
you
mother of
already
the
I
feel
child.
mean,
that,
like, okay, both of them as a pair.
well,
Who
I would say
comes
then,
first?
I think that you still have a lot of working out to do with
Mm-hmm.
your child's mother. And since she comes first, you should make her and your child first, and now you should go work out the things that are very much
Yeah,
difficult to you.
together.
Because
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
if I'm even if I had a child, if I'm bringing a man into that situation, I tell him, hey, my baby daddy comes first. That's saying that you will always come second,
Mm-hmm.
because it's not about the baby daddy. I also think that co-parenting, people try to make it a lot about things that have to do with a child, but in reality, there's nothing to do with a child.
Yeah.
Yeah.
People be like, sometimes you just hear baby mama. The baby want to talk to you, bitch. The baby is 6 months. And the baby cannot talk. It cannot speak.
Yes,
No, but serious.
I know what you mean.
Like they just be like, yeah, but my child, it need to see the father. Like the person who I had staying in my house. The child couldn't speak yet.
Oh,
And she like, yeah, I tell him watch his child on the camera. No, I'm gonna say you look very retarded, sis. No, you see, I'm dropping off a comment. This like it a twitch a nerve in me. Sorry.
But it's true. I do feel there need to be some clear boundaries because a
I
lot
feel
of
like
yeah.
times people do make it about things that don't even concern the child. Like, no, when you have a child and you break up,
and like you
the baby
said,
mama and baby I don't come first. It's about my child. Is my child doing okay? The well being.
Mm-hmm.
Those what
then you need
matters
to call
about
your
your
child
child.
and check on your child and be in your child life. I am all with it because I don't want to date a man that doesn't check for his child. That's your seed.
The
Hmm.
conversation needs to be
Before I
about your
came
child.
into
Yeah,
your
yeah.
life,
Mm-hmm.
you needed to have a relationship with a child that you want to see your child on the weekends. That you even that you go there during the week. I don't mind.
Mm-hmm.
But if you can't tell your baby mama this, or when you buy your baby mama, you can't pick up the phone, or
Mm-hmm.
it depends on the scenario. Once you start to kind of make it seem like, hey, my baby mama don't like this, and you care about her feelings, then I'm thinking y'all are sleeping together. Because the moment you
Yeah.
can't bring clarity to your baby mama, me, myself, and everybody in the situation, and what is your child gonna think if I just pop up in a relationship and he think that mommy and daddy's together? Because a child from two cannot reason to the sense of a 15 or 12-year-old. If you're giving your child the impression that you're with the mother, when they meet me, if we're gonna be in a long-term relationship or something leading to marriage, they're gonna be like, fuck you doing here? Like
Exactly.
you break up my mommy and my daddy, but that's not the scenario. You made it very unclear for that
Mm-hmm.
child from the get-go.
So
Yeah.
what if you put yourself now in a position of being the child mother?
Like I said again, I grew up, for example, I'm gonna just give a little snippet. I grew up in a very mixed household. My sisters, myself, my mother, everybody grew up. We're one big happy family.
Mm-hmm.
I really never understood the scenario of the separateness until I was old and be like, oh, people don't really do this. We is the odd ones out. I thought other people was the odd ones out, but we was the odd ones out because my mother, my father, we could all be together at the table. It could be Christmas dinner. But my sister mother had a husband. She got married. She had relationships. Even before she had a husband, she had a previous relationship. And I
Mm-hmm.
was a little girl.
Mm-hmm.
You understand? So she took care of me like her child. She respects my mother. My mother never takes she man. My mother never interrupted anything. And my father was mature enough to be like, hey, this is my
Mm-hmm.
new woman. This is my children's mother. This is the scenario the children can come over on the weekends. Grocery shopping. My mother handled the financial affairs. She did grocery shopping for my sisters and for us at home. So there was two households. That was clear.
Mm-hmm.
But there was a unison of respect. And I think when you're not dealing with a person sexually, it's easy to do that. I
That's
mean, it's
true.
not easy. I mean, I think it depends on the
You have a clear
the
head.
different also the attitudes and the stuff. Women are
Yeah.
hurt. I can understand. You might not be like, oh, this woman want to come take. Nobody want to be your child mother. Nobody's trying to replace you at no time.
Mm-hmm.
I can understand. I don't have kids, but I would never try to replace someone's space in their motherhood. I would try to
Yeah.
respect your boundaries and all
Yeah.
of that. But I think when you're not romantically or you still don't have those little feelings creeping up, it's very easy for you to create a dynamic that surrounds around the kids because
Like
that
it's
was in the
just
benefit
yeah.
for us as kids. If you ask my sister mother, for example, the other day, for example, I called her and somebody called her on the other phone. She was like, hey, yeah, she was like, I'm speaking to my daughter in Harlem.
Mm-hmm.
That person doesn't know. Some people don't know that I'm not her biological child. Some
Okay.
people was like, oh, that's your daughter. We all carry the same name. We all name with L's, like
Mm-hmm.
behind my father, and we all have the same,
Mm-hmm.
almost the same
Mm-hmm.
initials. So yeah, if you have a dynamic like that, there's never confusion because everybody feels respected.
Yeah.
You know,
That's the problem. That's the
like
thing.
I think when the boundaries aren't clear and the people kind of have feelings that they're unresolved,
Mm-hmm.
that's what has created the confusion.
Yeah. The issue.
Because you still maybe when you go over, you just scoot in a little close on a couch, or you be like, oh, I just I fall asleep, and she just lay
Mm-hmm.
on your chest. Yeah, as a woman, we have feelings.
Yep.
Yeah, and the thing is, I feel women know you're gonna try like, okay, if he allowed me to do this, that means he still like me,
And I
and then
Yes.
you know,
You still have
and I
feelings
think
for me.
baby mama and baby daddies they have often
tricks. Yeah.
sexual relationships
Yeah,
where
of course.
or they like the door is always half open.
Yeah.
And I think if the door is half open, you both should stay in the situation together. You if it's so good, why leave the situation?
And some
Don't involve
people.
other people into your mess because it is mess, especially for us outsiders who don't want to be in the drama. I
Mm-hmm.
wasn't raised with a drama. If I have kids, I want my kids to have a great relationship with their siblings without intertwining drama or personal issues. So we have to be clear on that. But I can't be clear on that if my man going over by you every day and I have no clarity and it's like, oh yeah, my baby mama says she we going on a trip with her friends. I was like, but that's a couple trip.
Hmm.
Hmm.
I was like, you sure sis? You sure they just friends? I was like, I don't know how to break it to you, but it's like that
Yeah.
don't
It's a.
sound
Mm,
too good, you know. I was like, where is they gonna sleep? Oh yeah, the couple's gonna sleep separately because they gonna accommodate us. I also feel like that's a lie. That sounds like
Hmm.
bullshit.
mm-hmm.
Who's gonna? I'm not leaving. I don't give a fuck what y'all got going on, but I'm not leaving. I'm not paying to go on a trip with you and my man sleeping with your man. They go no because when I get hot in the night, I want to cuddle up under my man.
Mm-hmm.
It's true.
I just want to be next to my partner. I'm not gonna pay to go on
Right.
a trip to make your convenience. Then you can just go by yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I
No.
feel like boundaries is kind of difficult in the situations when there's no clarity. But if there's clarity, they could be easily drawn boundaries. You know,
Hmm.
respecting a child, knowing that you're not the child's mother. If, for example, if I have a kid, I don't want you clapping my child. I'm sorry, I will clap my own child. You
Mm-hmm.
can talk to
Yeah.
my child sternly, but you don't need to put hands on my child. Unless I feel like we know each other, we have understanding, and I know like,
Mm-hmm.
hey, this person is not gonna harm my child or hit them too hard, or like they're gonna know what an appropriate tick is. But if I don't know you and we haven't established that relationship, I would not want
Yeah.
you. I'm not
Hmm.
gonna take a stepchild from me and go and be like, hey, you gonna get perm because you 13 now. You
That's a
overstepping
boundary.
boundaries, you know?
Yeah.
So I think like things like that need to be clarified. But again, everybody needs to meet and everybody needs to be on the same page, reading the same book and the same paragraph.
Mm-hmm.
Understand it
In
the
one accord.
same one. Don't have different interpretations.
Exactly. Just
Hmm.
be very clear. And you also have to kind of know your own self too. Like you're not gonna take the child if you use the stepmother or whatever
Mhm.
and be like you say, perm the hair, pierce the ears. You know, if it's
Like
a
ask the
girl,
parents.
yeah, but just don't do
And
it.
not even the baby daddy. I would say ask the
Yeah,
mother
ask.
because
Yeah.
you want the mother to be cool with you. Then you also need to like respect her. You know, let her know that hey, I
Mm-hmm.
respect you.
Mhm.
Your daughter wants to pierce her ears. How do you feel? Can I? Am I allowed to?
Mhm.
Or maybe you just say, you could also decide and be like, hey, I think that that's something mommy needs to decide with you.
Mhm.
I cannot take you to pierce your ears because I don't know if mommy's gonna be upset. You can
Mm-hmm.
also tell the child and remove yourself if you don't feel comfortable with approaching the other parent. But I feel like with certain things, men might be like, yeah, but I'm my child too. I could
Exactly.
yeah, when he with me, I could do what I want. But
Yeah.
if you want a situation to work long term, you need to make the other party know, like, hey, I have your child's best interest. I'm not trying to take your
Mhm.
place. I just want to treat your child appropriately. Do
Mhm.
you have any things that you would like me to take into consideration? Even how you dress, what they wear. Like, I'm not gonna buy nobody child no crop top because I don't want nobody buying my child a crop top.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And
Like,
it gets so
I think
Yeah.
once you
frustrating.
have clarified the boundaries between each other, it could be a
Yeah.
very
Mhm.
Smooth sailing.
smooth sailing and also very refreshing. Because like they say, you need a village, and what more
Religion.
village you could create if you have somebody extra who could be like, hey, I run a little late, you could pick up the child for me. We do
Yeah.
it within friendships, but if you have a relationship and you are close to the kids, why not?
Yeah.
Do you think it's possible to co-parent without emotional attachment?
I think
Yeah.
for
It's
sure.
been done.
Yeah,
Cause
it's been done. I feel
yeah.
like it just if the two people are mature enough and of course are not penetrating each other left and right, it can most definitely
Yeah. Or the
be
door half open.
yeah.
And in a situation like this, how would you go about proving that to your partner? Because your partner is very fresh into the situation,
Hmm.
so how would you prove to your partner, like, hey, this is just co-parenting?
I feel actions speak louder than words because you could always say with your
Facts.
mouth what you gonna do, da 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 da. But I feel through all the time spending time with a person, you're gonna show them exactly how it is. And
Yeah.
it, like this situation, he going to vacation, you're already showing them this is what it is. So you just leave.
Exactly.
But if there's clear boundaries, you're gonna see it for your own self just by the way they communicate with a person, how they go about their schedule, how they try to navigate. Or when the phone ring and the baby mama call you, they don't have to go and
I
sneak
was just
off,
gonna say that.
go
I
sneak
was
off to
just
answer
going
the
to say this.
phone or whatever.
Literally.
If there's a mutual respect and understanding, like okay, this is how we're gonna do things. So I feel like
Hmm.
the way they go about things is gonna let you know how how secure you should be or
Yeah.
you should feel basically. So I feel like you could say whatever, but if your action is opposite than what you say, then you're
Yeah.
just a liar.
Only
You're
thing like,
lying.
yeah, it's it's our business. It's not your business. You don't need to worry about this, or you feeling jealous, you feeling insecure. If they start to gaslight you, then that's already answer. Like
Exactly.
you already know what's wrong. So it's like, but
And you think what would be for you too much time? Is it too much time that co-parents could spend together, or they could just co-parent outside of just
I feel like when you if you start into the point where we could go on family vacation, I feel then it's something I'm like, why are you guys like flying out together like you're a couple when you're no
but
longer
even
that?
they have this their agendas sync. So for me, that I have a man and your agenda is synced with your baby mama, I would have an issue with that because like I don't think you're ready or you have room for me or anybody else to
mm,
say
But think in what sense? Because there are some
sync with
people
yeah,
everything. They have the iPhone sync. So if I put I going shit on Tuesday, he could see I going shit on Tuesday and she could see you going for a wax or whatever
I mean,
appointments you have.
but then you have to have a separate
they have
agenda.
yeah, because if the agenda is like Kylie has a I don't know
A
basketball
dentist,
game
yeah,
on thing. This is the day.
appointment.
Then you're like, oh, you see what you need to miss, and it's like, okay, you're trying to keep up to date with all the important things.
Mm-hmm.
But if it's like anything outside, like yeah, I gonna get my wax, like you say. Valentine's Day is coming. Remember, this is our anniversary on the day we met, and when and it's like
Random stuff
weird, just
that have
random
nothing to
stuff.
do with the child.
Like, why is this even a thing? And I feel
Yeah.
like it comes too much when you feel like, oh, let's go to dates like a family. You're not really a family anymore. Why would we have dates? Like if you want to take your child out to the picnic, you could go. My father could take the child to the picnic on his own and go there. But the
Mm-hmm.
moment you start like behaving kind of like oh lovey dovey, kissy kissy, and you don't want your like partner to know what's going on,
Mm-hmm.
that's where things get really like out of hand because you're not being transparent and you feel like you're
Yeah.
lying, you're always trying to cover up your track and you like you say gaslighting your partner into feeling like
Mm-hmm.
you the one in your feelings for no reason.
Like
Because
it's
if it
on
was the
you.
other way around, it wouldn't be nice. And I just feel people don't like to think about if this was flipped, would I like it? People don't like to think about that.
I
Yeah.
would say
They don't want to
if you
thing.
can put if the other person puts themselves in a situation where you also have a partner and your partner would not be okay with it, then you already know that the situation is becoming very much inappropriate.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because of course, if nobody have partners, or if the man gets a partner first, it's gonna seem like, oh no, you moving weird. But you have decided. Remember, you guys both decided that you're no longer a family. So there's no need for trips to Disney World. There's no need no trips to the park, bitch. There's no need no trips to Driftly. There's no need for y'all to even be in pictures together because the man could take pictures with his child. He could take pictures together unless, you know, it's platonic. But
And you
Yeah.
also have to explain to the child, like, okay, this is the dynamic now. Mommy and daddy don't live together. Sometimes you will only be with me, sometimes you will only be with him, just so they don't be like
Confused.
surprised or like
confusing the
weird or
child too.
yeah,
Because it's
confused.
like, okay, I see mommy and daddy, and kids are just so innocent. They might be like, yeah, my papa, stay with us. Like, why
Mm-hmm.
can't you stay here? Where are you
And
going?
next time,
Yeah.
next you know that you bring your child around, you're like, you're not my mother, you're not papa, mommy. Why you touching me, papa? And then it's like, kids are so innocent. They just
They don't know
say it,
better.
Yeah.
and they be like, mommy, I see papa kissing another woman.
Uh-huh.
Then you're like, doesn't mean I have two mummies? Then you're like, hmm? Like,
Exactly.
what is going
Now
on?
they're confused.
I think if you explain children in a way that they can understand, because yeah, two you can't really comprehend a lot, but
Mm-hmm.
explain your children in a way that they can understand at the age that is appropriate to them. Like, hey, Papa has his own life, Mama has her own life. We care about each other and we care about you, so we're gonna do
Mm-hmm.
some things together. But some like birthday parties, of course, they're gonna be together, but not if you're going across the world to Disney World.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a bit extreme.
Yeah, then you can just have to take your kid with your sister, your mother, your brother, your cousins, and enjoy it, and then tell her to come 2 days after,
Mm-hmm.
and then she could go there, and we can just be waiting outside of the hotel, sweetie. Because I mean, it also depends. 'Cause I ain't going to include myself in something that you're not including me, but I'm definitely going to tell you when you call my phone, it's like subscriber unavailable. Please try again at a later time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah, I'm
God.
not gonna be continuing that. I'm not gonna put myself in a situation where I have to question myself because I'm clear on where I stand. I don't have that going on. I'm giving you room as 100%, and I'm giving
Mm-hmm.
making room in my life for you. And if you don't have room in your life for me, that's okay. Then we don't have to be there. We don't have to do this because I don't got baggage.
Exactly.
Yeah, I feel like when you start mixing other people, if you know you're not ready, don't mix other people into your
Into your
mess.
in your problems.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Sorry. I don't know why I laugh. I laugh. Why you laugh?
Sorry. Okay, wait, let's start again.
Why you
Wait.
laughing?
Okay, we've been talking about like the co-parenting dynamic, and that's all nice and dandy. So let's switch into the financial support
Yes.
and child support. If both parents are present in the child's life and very involved with raising a child, should child support be required from the other party? Why or why not?
Mm, I want to go first. Honestly, I feel like the meaning of child support is more or less for if the person is like I would say deadbeat is a way to like get something out of the
Support.
so called man or woman who don't want to do nothing with a child and they got some money so you could just get her in. But I
Mm-hmm.
don't feel like, for example, I've seen the situation with a guy. He said he and his partner are no longer together. But
Mm-hmm.
when it comes to his child, he pays the school fee, the basketball games, everything down to the child, his school clothes, the shoes, the activities, everything the child needs,
Okay.
he pays for it. But yet the woman still chooses and he spends time with it to the child. He even gives the mother money to even pay rent just to make sure the child have light and everything functioning,
At
groceries.
home and stuff.
He
Yeah.
even gave them money to go on vacation. So the
Oh
mother
wow.
never like in a sense lacks. And he's very active and present and knows what's going on with the child. The mother never lacks. But yet she still wants to put him on child support because she feel like he should get. And then the lady who was on the podcast say like, yeah, you should because yeah, but she has a car and stuff like that. He's like, I don't have to pay her car note. I don't have to do these things. He said
No.
my priority is my child, and if I'm still actively involved, paying all these things, and my child still seeing me, and I'm making sure my child is well kept, why should I pay child support? I feel like child support is for like people who are in a deadbeat situation. The person is a deadbeat and don't want to do anything with their child, but you need that help and assistance to be able to pay some bills, make sure your
Yeah.
child to take care of your
Of
child.
course.
I would say go after it. But if the person is involved and is doing what they're supposed to do and paying school fee, paying this, making sure the child have everything and spending time, why are you putting a person on child support? I feel like if you do that, it's because sometimes there's some level of bitterness that comes, and you do that
And
out of
greediness.
spite,
Maybe
and you do it
greedy
out
too.
of spite. There's even this rapper, same thing.
Big Boogie, right?
I
Is
don't
it?
know. I don't know. He
With the
bought his new
Carmen girl.
girlfriend a car, and the baby mama got vexed and put him on child support. And he's like,
Yeah.
she
Oh.
not think she has to pay for down to her car, whoever she had.
Even
Everything
the
comes
car
into
that
his
she
bank
had,
account.
he bought her, but I think she was upset that he had
Oh.
bought the new girl because they
Oh.
wasn't dating so long a new car. But like Elizabeth said, yeah, I
That's
feel like
Mm.
bitterness, you know.
Yeah.
He said, "There's
Yeah.
nothing."
I
Yeah.
He
feel
said,
like you
"Everything comes
salty.
from
And the
my
thing is, if you go back
account."
now, no, because he was like, I make sure her rent paid. He was doing all this extra stuff that was outside of just how to say just the 50% that you would get maybe for your child, if even that, because some people don't always get enough money to pay for their child.
Yeah.
I think you just need to like again. I feel like if parents put their kids first, a lot of these conversations would be so easy to have. Because I think once you start to put yourself before your kids and your own feelings, you just kind of cloud a judgment and you make it hard for your kids.
Mhm. But I
Yeah.
feel like a lot of women do that though. They do put themselves first. Like they still want to maintain themselves, look good. But it's like, okay, if you use the child, use the baby daddy. Okay, this is for the $300 for the child. It's like they expect maybe an extra 100 I could get, so I
So
could do
take
my
him.
nails
Then get
this
yourself
month.
another man. That is the problem.
If you don't got a ring, then you don't got a
Exactly.
Get
mister.
yourself another man, a sugar daddy, or work an extra job. Why should he take
It's
care
like they
of
get
you? You
jealous.
know?
They get jealous of the child. Like it's so
I
weird.
think is I just feel like
It's so
look,
weird.
if you broke, just like I'm sorry. If I go into a
Ah,
relationship with
yeah.
having a kid, I'm gonna have that kid because I know I can financially provide for that kid myself. No, that's not
Mm-hmm.
saying at any time that I don't expect the father to
Mm-hmm.
provide. But I think before you have kids, these conversations need to be had. I feel like
100%.
people they kind of want to put the carriage before the horse
Mm-hmm.
instead of just talking about difficult situations. If you know your baby daddy in a situation where, let's say, he don't make enough and all he could give you is 100 euros, that means you know that outside of those 100 euros, it doesn't take 100 euros to provide for kids.
Mm-hmm.
So you know, in that situation, you're gonna have to provide the other 90% because I wouldn't even say that's 10. That's like two. So
Yeah.
kids are expensive. Pressure's expensive. All the costs that comes with kids. If I have a kid, I'm having a kid knowing like, hey, this is the situation. If that person drops dead tomorrow, that's the harsh reality. You
Mm-hmm.
wouldn't be getting child support either. But if my father, like Elizabeth said, I'm so like I stand behind your standpoint. I agree with that.
Mm-hmm.
If my child father is doing everything they need to do and then some, why would I go and put you on child support? There's no need for that. Because
Yeah.
you have proven to yourself, like, hey, you're a provider. You making sure your kids eat. You making sure that they have activities. You shouldn't. I shouldn't have to ask you, hey, the children jacket's a little worn. Can you send me 100? The children shoes. You see your kids enough, right? I would
Mm-hmm.
hope that I go and lay down with a man who prioritizes that he want to be in his children life enough that he's gonna see the things that I see.
Exactly.
You understand?
Mm-hmm.
And that he gonna be like, you don't even have to give me money. Like let's say you can pay for stuff because the money's not for me. Because I got me, babes. I got me and
Exactly.
I got my
Mm-hmm.
kids because I
Exactly.
decided to do grown people stuff and I
Mm-hmm.
gonna take care of it all the time. But I also gonna have a kid with somebody who feel the same way.
Yeah.
So in
Mm-hmm.
that moment, when you see your kids lacking shoes, you gonna be like, hey, babe, don't not babe, not babe, not babe. But you be like, hey, I get a children some new shoes. School time run around, be like, I got a backpack, I got this, I got that, and then the other person goes out and get a rest. Because
Yeah.
Yeah.
if you was living in the same household, you also don't expect the person to do everything. You going kind of check who's the whole breadwinner, how
Balance out.
our
Mm-hmm.
salaries, where we can compromise. And like Quinn was saying, I think people do get jealous, and I feel like
Mm-hmm.
since if you want to get your nails done, then you need to work on yourself, get a new job,
Yeah.
Oh
Make your
man.
make
money.
sure
Mm-hmm.
that you provide, but not even a man, make sure you can provide these things for yourself.
It's
We
true.
women want to ask men for all of these things that they don't provide for themselves.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, if you're feeling jealous, you're not a man providing. I'm like, if you want to feel the same, you get a man who can make you feel special. I
Yeah.
don't know if that's
In
if
that
that's what you're
case,
desiring to have to be feeling special by a man. Then
yeah.
get a man.
Yeah, but
But
then when your
yeah,
man tell you there's no nail money, don't get mad. Then your nails gonna just have to look chapo.
Yep. Just go buy nail polish and put some
DIY, do it yourself.
Yeah, I just feel like if you want these things, child support
DIY.
is exactly what it says. Child support is for the child, and it helps aid to whatever cars a child have.
Mhm.
If you have a car, like your car note, that has nothing to do with your child. Yes, it's
Yeah.
a means to an end. But sis, I would hope you needed the car to get to work. I would hope you needed the car to do your day-to-day life. So the same way is with a house. Yes, you have a house, but without this child, you still would have needed to have a roof over your head. So
Exactly.
you would have been paying this rent. So I'm not gonna be
Either
like, because
way.
that's almost like you want to be like, okay, my child use so failed kilowatts of electricity. My child uses how much time have you washed today? Wait, hold on. I need to give my child a 10 euro bill because I washed his clothes twice this week.
Uh-huh.
Like it doesn't really work like that. You have to be realistic. And I think again, I would just like to have kids with someone who can see without having to. I don't have to ask you. This is your kid too.
Yeah.
I feel like that's draining. Like if I have to ask you, how about no?
It's like
That
why
means that I'm not even gonna spread my legs to have a kid with you because you're
Mhm.
not the right person for me to
Exactly.
procreate with.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah, no.
I
Yeah,
mean,
that's fair.
What should be a fair financial arrangement? We kind of just already touch on that to a sense.
mhm.
It depends on two things, I guess. Your financial capability to provide. If a
Yep.
man have 6 kids, sis, you can't expect him to give you all of his €1,000 that he just worked for his whole month. It's just
Exactly.
not realistic. And you already knew this coming in because if I mean, well, yeah, it depends. How not many people will sit down and have these conversations,
No.
but I'm assuming if you have just a little inquiry in mind, you start to add things together. Okay, you work here, you make this amount, you got 6 kids. Okay, let's say if you can split that rent, your rent is so much. Like you can make a calculation. If you see your kid, if the man have 6 kids, in this day and day, you can
I
barely
Honestly,
wouldn't
have
even
one.
bother
let
make
me
a
tell you, if
calculation.
the man could convince
I'd be
you
like,
to,
that's a no, immediate no.
Quinn
Immediately
say,
no.
yo, Quinn does be running on the red
no,
flags.
like
Quinn,
6, no,
That's
bye bye.
I ain't even gonna waste my time.
Like, bye,
It's like
bye.
after one, maybe one and a half.
One and a
That ain't
half.
even a
Wait, the
thing.
half
what was
is
the
the
half? It's still
One and a
growing.
half.
Quinn said, wait.
same. And a half.
I could take a half a child, let's say 50-50 if it born a twilling. That's a okay. The twin,
But
we can only take care of half of that twin. The next one, sorry, I didn't
what
calculate
happened
that
is
in
the
my
person
math.
I'm getting triplets. It's not a fun. They just end up getting
It's
triplets.
still a
Quincy,
no.
I'm sorry. Quincy, God bless you. Too much.
Walk gonna be like 1.5. The other half, she gonna have to go
Yeah.
side.
Keep that side.
Cause I'm gonna go for 1.5. Keep that side.
No. One, like after one, two is like even a little stretch, but one is
So if they
pretty.
get twins,
That is no. That
one
is
and a
no.
half.
And if the other person is able to co-parent zero, would you leave them see the child? Would that affect the way
I mean,
you?
copen 0.
If they're cooperate,
Oh,
sorry. If the
what?
other person could only cooperate $0.00, they just have time. Would you leave them spend time with your
Oh.
child?
Hmm. Hmm. I mean, it's still a father.
They could be your broke babysitter or not.
But even if they, but then if they don't even have money to give you, if you have to leave the child there for a week, will they be able to have money to
Maybe the
feed the
parents,
child?
grandma and
They
grandpa.
going hustling together.
Don't laugh.
Yeah, let me just say that.
We not laughing at anybody's situation.
Why
It's
you
just
saying
that's a
that?
good question. Couldn't like wait. Like I can't believe you watch my child by yourself
Because
because
you can't feed them.
it's a hazard.
You have to leave
Then
everything.
you have to exactly. You have to send food with the child, send the clothes.
You know, then you have to pay him to be a babysitter so he could have some income coming in. Imagine that.
Yeah, but he having to
I'm
spend no
not paying
money.
for babysitter, babes. You are the babysitter.
No, it's like you got to, and I'm not saying you gotta give us a job here.
I'm coming to your house.
You got income.
I'm bringing the snacks. I'm bringing the. I might buy you Burger King too, but I'm bringing the child. I'm like, I'm going to work, doing what you don't be doing, sweetie, and I'm bringing my child so you can watch our kid. Yeah,
But
that
I
work?
know
I just know
if
that
you
man
just
ego will
make
be
a
through
child
the
for
ground.
somebody like who don't work, who don't like to work, then what that says
I
about you
just feel
too.
like
It's true.
as a person,
Exactly.
if you have a kid, yo, I got mean hustle now, and I don't got no kids. So if I had a mouth to feed and somebody outside of myself, that grind gonna be different.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't want my child to miss for nothing. And I would hope that the other person who I lay down with would have the same ideas in life. Like, we
To
need to be able
provide.
to provide for our kid, If I want to be able to have That's within a relationship, but that's also without a relationship. If I lay down with a man and I realize like, hey, I gotta work tonight, for example, you got free, but it's not your day. I want to be
Mm-hmm.
able to be like, hey, how your schedule look like? I kind of have to work this shift. Can you have the kid? Like that's the type. If we're not
Mm-hmm.
together, if we're together, of course that is automatic, right? We gonna
Mm-hmm.
look within our own space.
Yeah.
But I don't want to have to look outside of myself or beg you to be around your child. I feel like a child is a blessing. You know, you should
Mm-hmm.
want to be around your child. You should want to provide the moments that you share. It's not always about money because kids not gonna remember the $200 you paid on child support, but they're going to remember you taking them to the movies, spending time with them. You know,
Mm-hmm.
just being present in their lives
Mm-hmm.
and just making that time. So I guess I would give somebody, I just always say, I give you 3 months to get your shit together. You could lose your job and maybe you can't provide at that moment. But just like a job, you have a 3 month notice, then you gotta get it together and it's either you keep the job or you not. I
Yeah.
think within parenting the same. Because if I was to lose my job, I wouldn't be home sitting on like, oh yeah, sorry babe, I can't. Hey, with this babe word, damn. My baby daddy gonna be my babe. Yeah, I just don't want to be with somebody who I have to always have to call you to do what you have to do as a parent. I feel like you
Yeah.
should just know that we both created this child. This is somebody that depends on us financially, physically, emotionally, and we should just do what's in the best interest of that child. How would you say, let's say if you was to get married to somebody,
Mm-hmm.
how would you divide the finances? Would it be the same? Do you expect, let's say, okay, let me put it on a twist. I know Queen gonna be like, I know what is. You married to somebody, he has one kid outside of his relationship, outside of you.
Okay.
You got married to him. How much of your household money can he contribute to his child without with you being okay, or is it amount, or how would you go about that situation?
Mm, but first, I would be like, okay, what is it now? Like, what is the average now? And I don't know. I think I would be like, okay, just let it stay the same. I don't think I would be
But
like,
them baby mamas want to hit your pocket. They might be like, Quinn, yeah, she got a bachelor's degree. She does work hard, boy. She
I'd be
will
like,
make you
sorry, but
off
no.
50 of that.
I mean, like, this does technically that's not my child, and if I don't want to, I don't want to, and if I don't have to, I don't have
So
to.
if the baby mama fall on rough times, would you and the man need to contribute a little bit more? Would you support your husband within
The
that?
child can move in.
So are you can just leave the baby mama
I feel
just
like I feel like that is what
That's the best
typically happens.
situation. Huh? Like just
To
like
be
move
honest,
in with the
yeah.
if you're not in a position where you could provide and thing, then I will just take my child. He's gonna live with us, and then
Hmm.
me and my husband we can handle it from there. Give you time to clear your head. If you gotta go by your maybe live by your parents for a while until you could catch your feet, so
Yeah.
be it.
In that case, yeah.
But I'm not gonna go out of my way to more or less finance you. What I can, like, if I am depends. If we are cool with each other, like I'm like, hey girl, like here's
I got a
I
groceries.
got groceries. Here, I cook something for you to eat or
Hmm.
whatever. Do you need a little help with like? But I'm not gonna be like I'm going to make it like a monthly allowance thing to give you money.
Exactly.
Like the best situation at that time is now that child needs a roof over the head. Let me make sure.
Hmm.
Okay, gonna move in with me, school, whatever needs to be handled, school fee, whatever is gonna be straight. Maybe you move back in with your parents if that's the case, or
After a
family
while.
or
Hmm.
someone. Try get your head back where you need to be. We can check in on you, see what it is, like, and be like, yeah, and that's it. But I'm not going to be like a bank to
Yeah.
like
Cause
finance
then
you
you
on a monthly basis. Because then you get comfortable, and then you're like,
exactly.
why should I work when she could give me like, and I feel if you get unemployed, no matter where you states or whatever, they have these like systems where you could be like unemployment what do you call it?
Benefits.
Benefits.
Like
Yeah, until you get something. So
mm,
you know?
I agree. I stand with y'all too. I would just take into the kid if you in a hard time now we can provide. I don't mind sending groceries if it's something for short term
Exactly.
and you looking for
mm-hmm,
something that
mm-hmm.
by the next week and you be like, hey, grocery shot. I would just do some Instacart or whatever I had to go or whatever deliver to your house. I don't mind that. I do think when it comes to larger sums of money outside of what was agreed upon, then we have to see if the situation benefits the child. I think it all comes down to the child. If you can't give the child a stable home and we can, let's take the burden off of you. That don't mean that
Mm-hmm.
we're taking your kid for the long term. It just means that right now you're not capable to provide the type of lifestyle that your kids needs, and the kids need stability. They need to
Yeah.
know that they have roof over their head. They're gonna be warm. They don't need to have to worry about adult things. So I would say I would be open to that option. And if it's
Yeah.
short term, I don't mind sending you some groceries. If it's long term, yeah, then
We need
just give
to.
us the kids so we can provide stability. And when you're on your feet, you could have your kids. Like we're not taking your kids or holding them hostage or making you feel as a incompetent parent. However, I think at the end of the day with these situations, every situation is different, right?
Mhm.
I say there's no one size fit all in these scenarios. I think yeah, for some people,
It's more
like when say
complicated.
1.5 kid is just too much for her. Baby, she ain't even giving you a whole kid. She giving you a half. And
What
so
do you
if
say
that's
with
a
me?
twin, that's half. And if it's a real person, we can't split them in half. So Quinn says, technically only one. So I think, yeah, I don't mind people with kids. I just do think that boundaries need to be present. I
Mhm.
think
Mhm.
we all need to be comfortable in a situation. This goes for the child's mother. This goes for myself because you're involving me actually in something that has already been running. So
Yeah. Mhm.
y'all have a dynamic. That dynamic has been established. I need to be comfortable in that situation. So we all need to come to a terms where everybody's gonna be comfortable. Of course, you don't want to come in stepping on anyone's toes. But I do think where it all ends is just putting the child first, right? If you have to deal with kids, kids are very innocent in these situations. They didn't
Mhm.
ask for this, they didn't ask to be together. They didn't ask you to lay down with somebody who's incompetent to co-parent with or that you can't even go through one door with. So put the kids, prioritize the kids at all times, and then the rest gonna follow. I genuinely believe in that. I think if you're really thinking of the best interest of your
Mhm.
kid, I shouldn't have to ask you for anything else, and it
Yeah.
will just work out. But we could only speak from our experiences and what we think and how we feel. And I think everybody else, let us know how you would go about this dynamic. What would you have done? Would you be okay with a situation of your partner going on a, I call it a couple trip, to be honest. But going on a couple trip or a family vacation with their ex and the mother of their child, or would you not be okay with that? Comment down below. And for this one, we oh y'all, this was a good topic, and
Yes.
comment down below what you want us to talk about next. I think we like the little difference in topics.
Yeah.
Yes.
Little
Yes.
variety.
Little variety.
Yes.
All right, have a good one.
All
Peace.
right.